Okay, we've talked about two ways of writing equations. So two ways of writing linear equations, or the equation of a line. The first one we learned was slope-intercept. What was slope-intercept form in general? Anyone remember? That's the slope formula. That's different. Y equals, just shout it out. Yeah, y equals mx plus b. And m itself is the slope, and b is the y coordinate of the y-intercept. Okay? So it's like the y-intercept is 0, comma b. Slope-intercept. The second form that we've looked at is called standard form, which was ax plus by equals c. And none of those numbers mean anything. They're just numbers, right? The slope is not any of these numbers. The intercepts are not any of these numbers. But we can we can graph this pretty simply by dividing c over b to find the y-intercept and c over a to find the x-intercept. Right? So then the third form is called point slope form. And it looks the weirdest of all. So in point slope form we have y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1. Let me give you an example of an equation in this form. Y minus 3 equals 1/2 x minus 2. So y1 is actually a number, and x1 is actually a number. M is also a number. So what we can say is this is point slope form where m is our slope and x1 comma y1 is a point on the line. The interesting thing about this is there's really only one way to write the equation of a single line in slope-intercept form. There's only one slope-intercept equation that describes that line. In standard form, you could multiply both sides by a number, but there's only one reduced standard form of a line. So what I mean by that is I could say like 2x plus 3y equals 6, and then I could say 4x plus 6y equals 12. Those are the same line, but I can just divide everything by 2 to simplify that, right? In point slope form, how many points are on a line? If I were to draw a line, remember I always draw it like this, right? How many points are on that line? Infinity. Yeah. So there are infinity ways of writing the point slope form equation of that line. Because you could use any point on the line. Okay, x1, y1 could be any point on the line. So this is kind of the least specific form of the equation. But it's a really easy form to graph with. And it's a really easy form to write an equation of a line with. Let me show you why. So, let's say we have an equation like this. Y minus 2 equals 4 times x minus 1. And I want you to sketch a graph of this. Graph this equation. The nice thing about this is, well, I don't know if it's nice or not, but you don't really have to do any math. The only thing I have to do is say, oh, well, I know my point is x1 comma y1. So what is x1 in this equation? It should be the point that's right, it should be the number that's right here at the end of the parentheses. So it is 1. What is y1 in this equation? Well, it should be the number that's right after y, so it's 2. Now notice, the equation itself has a minus sign, right? So it's y minus y1. The y point is 2, it's not minus 2. Okay? 1, 2. Oh, so that gives me a point to graph on the line right there. But I can't make a line from one point. So how could I maybe get a second point on this line? The slope. The slope here is 4, right? 4. Remember, it's helpful to think of slopes as a fraction. So how could we rewrite 4 as a fraction? 4 over 1. And we can just use the slope to find our next point. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. We could keep doing that. We could even go the opposite way. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe a point there. And go 1, 2, 3, 4 over here. Right? So we can generate a whole bunch of points along that line. And then I can connect my beautifully straight points. That's where I drew that one, actually. Okay. So it's pretty simple to graph this. We just find the x1, y1, that's our first point, and then we use the slope to find the next point. Let's do another example. I'm going to leave this written right there. I'm just going to do them in different colors. So let's say y minus 3 equals negative 2 times x minus 1. Alright, what's my first point? Where am I going to start?
X1.
Okay, 1.
Which is 1.
Okay. And 3. Where is that on the graph? 1, 1, 2, 3. Right there. And then how do I find another point?
Slope.
Okay, what is my slope? Negative 2 over 1. So I go down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. So there's that. Okay. Let's mix it up a little bit. What if I have this? Y plus 3 equals 1/2 x plus 5. What's my point? Is it 5, 3?
Would it be negative 5, negative?
Let's compare it to this equation. The equation, the formula, right, says y minus y1.
Yeah, but it's not.
So I have y minus what?
Minus negative 3.
Yeah, right? Y
Yeah.
minus negative 3 is y plus 3.
So it isn't, yes.
Yeah, so my point is negative 5, negative 3. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Have a point right there. Okay, where do I go from there? Rise over run. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. And I have a beautiful line from that equation. Let's do one more. What if I had this? Y plus 6 equals 2/3 x.
Would it be like, there's no x's there, so it's just like a line?
It would be.
I could even write it like that.
It would be.
What is
negative
x?
6. No, it would be 0, negative 6.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
This is the same thing as x minus 0.
So it's 0, negative.
Alright? So if I had 0, I could just kind of leave it off. So my point is 0, comma, negative. Wait, it says y plus 6 though. Why are we writing negative? Minus.
Because it's y minus negative 6.
Oh, right. The equation, that formula has a negative in it. So this is y minus negative 6. Okay? So 0, negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then what do I do? What's my slope?
Wait, I have a question.
Okay, go
So
for it.
like if you would, because we have a positive 6, what if it was negative 6 and then it was negative y? Would those two cancel each other out, or would it always be negative?
If the y is negative, it's not in point slope form. Because point slope form says y. It doesn't say negative y. So if I gave you something like this,
No.
negative y plus 6, is that what you're saying?
No, I mean like if the 6 was negative but then like,
Yeah, that's like the first ones that we did, y minus 6.
no.
Then our point would be 6. Is that what you're asking?
But like, I don't know, like what if it was already negative?
Give me an example.
It's like you have, y plus negative 6, you do that?
Oh, I see.
And
That
then,
just means
and then
minus
it's like, would you just keep it the same, or would you like?
This is the same thing as y minus 6.
Like everything.
Plus a negative is the same thing as minus. So in this case, our point would be positive 6. The point here, the coordinate would be 6. Because it's y minus the coordinate. So the coordinate here would be 6.
Okay.
So if we have plus, the coordinate is negative. If we have minus, the coordinate is positive.
That makes sense. So I was asking if they cancel each other out.
Right.
Like for
They-
them to,
Well, they sort of do. We could think of it like plus is like minus a negative. It's like y minus a negative negative 6,
yeah.
which is sort of like y minus a positive 6. So you could sort of think of them as canceling each other out. Never thought about that. I probably wouldn't give you a problem like that, but it is an interesting point. Okay, so now let's go back to this one. We plotted the point 0, negative 6. How do we find another point on that line? Okay, so we'd go what?
Up to over 3.
2 over 3, and we could do that a couple times. All right. Questions? What if we were going the other way? What if I gave you a point? So what if your instructions are write the equation of the line through 1 comma negative 2 with a slope of 4/5. What do we do? Yeah.
It would be y plus 2 equals 4/5 times x minus 1.
So the 2, right, comes from this negative 2. The 1 comes from this positive 1, so they're reversed. And then the 4/5 is our slope.
So if you're writing that, so if it was a negative for y, you would put a plus 2?
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, we could have written it out like this. We could have said y minus negative 2. This is technically what point slope form says to do, right? But then hopefully you would see, oh, minus a negative. I can simplify that by making it plus. Let's do another example. Try to erase as little as possible. All right. What if we had this one? Write the equation of the line through -5, -6 with a slope of 2. So if this is all they say, I would always use point slope form for this. Okay, because it's just easy. So what's my equation?
Y plus 6 equals 2 times x plus 6.
Oh,
We have to add x plus 5.
Yeah, the 6 is the second number.
you just 2 6.
Oh,
Wait, but then what would be
no,
y?
but the last 6 would be 5.
The last 6 would be 5.
Yeah,
That's one.
because it's the x.
Yeah,
And like
Because it's the
x,
x.
y.
Oh, the point is xy. Oh, so this should be 5.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Point 0 comma -1. Slope 1. Write that equation. What would it be? Y minus or plus?
Y
Plus 1, right? Because we have a -1
equals
equals just x, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's 1x minus 0. Right? 1 times x minus 0 is just 1 times x, which is just 1x, which is just x. So y plus 1 equals x. All right, let's do kind of a weird one. Point let's start with this. 3 comma 0. Slope 0. Okay, what do I do here? goes in front of the x minus 3?
Nothing. So zero.
Is 0 the same as nothing in this case?
No.
So I just need to write a 0. Why? Because 0 times anything equals what?
Zero.
Zero.
So y would equal
Nothing.
0. The 3 kind of disappears in this one, right? Because I have 0 times something. So that's just 0. Anyway. That's probably enough practice.